Tony Alizio. If a man takes no thought about what is distant, he will find sorrow near at hand. Confucius. When I first moved to the Berkshires, I began looking for a job, something that wouldn't tax me too much. I found a job working in a halfway house with schizophrenics. The job was fairly easy. It consisted of playing games. I became quite attached to one man in particular. His name was Tony Alizio. Tony and I became fast friends. Whenever he would see me come through the door, he would cry out, "Dickie Bird, you've come back to me." And he would throw his arms around me and give me a big hug and a big kiss on the neck and cheek. I loved Tony. I loved him like my own father. When we first met, I took a deck of cards, sat at a round table with Tony, and extended my hand. I told him to cut the deck. He extended his right hand to the cards, held it above the deck, and just as he was about to cut it, drew back his hand in one quick motion. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't get Tony to cut the deck. He would extend his right hand out, hold it for a moment above the deck, then quickly withdraw it in one quick motion. That was Tony Alizio. Tony was about 5'5", with a mop of dark brown hair, lovely soft brown eyes, and lips that had a tendency to mumble. Tony had false teeth, and he would crack them as he spoke and smack his lips. He also had rough fingers and knobby hands, but he was a lovely guy. Years before, he had been an executive in a big engineering firm, and then something had happened. His wife died and left him, as he said, stranded. I played games with Tony for 6 months, Scrabble and Trivial Pursuit, and at the end of 6 months, Tony was beating me and winning every game. One thing would always happen, and it would happen midway into the game. We would play between 3 and 6 hours every day, and midway into our time together, Tony would suddenly stop, take out a cigarette and light it, turn away from me, look up at the sky, and begin talking to himself. This would go on for about 2 minutes. He would cross his legs, puff deeply on the cigarette, and as the smoke was coming out of his nose and mouth, he would turn away, look up into the sky, start rattling off ya-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, as though he were firing a machine gun with his words, and begin arguing with someone. "Tony," I would say quickly, "Tony, is everything all right, Tony? Is everything all right?" "Sure, Dickie Bird," he would reply. "Everything is all right. I'm just checking in." And then, without a moment's hesitation, we would begin playing the game again. I worked with Tony for 6 months. He smoked a lot, as did all the schizophrenics. They didn't have anything to do all day except smoke cigarettes. I would help him shave and cook meals for himself. I even helped him wash his clothing in the washing machine in the basement once or twice. He was a lovely guy, soft and gentle, always respectful, with a wonderful sense of humor. "Dickie Bird, you've come back to me again," he would say, throw his arms around my neck and give me a big hug and a big kiss on the cheek and neck, smacking his big lips as he did so. Sometimes he wore his false teeth, and sometimes he didn't. To me, it didn't make any difference. Sometimes I would take him out along with another attendant and 7 or 8 other schizophrenics, one of whom, a fat girl, tried to kill herself by slitting her wrists. She also had numerous scars on her wrists from other attempts at suicide. But never Tony. He was happy for everything you did for him. Going to the lake to watch the swans and the rowboats and the sailboats, going out for ice cream with the group of 7 or 8 others to Carvel. He was especially thankful for our time and our games together. That's how I learned to play cribbage, too. When I would take a break from Tony Alizio and the rest of his group, they would all be smoking or just sitting watching television. A friend of mine, another attendant, taught me to play cribbage. Dickie said, "You want to learn how to play cribbage? It'll keep you sane." "Sure," I said. "Why not? Anything that will keep me sane, I want to learn." And so I learned the game. It is a great game, too. It relaxes the mind, takes the mind off of everything else, and focuses it. When I play cribbage, I don't know that anything else exists. I love the game so much. It's played with 4 cards and making multiples of 15. For 15, you get 2 points. For a pair, 2 points. For 3 of a kind, 6 points. For 4 of a kind, 12 points. For a double run, 8 points. For a triple run, 15 points. For a double run, 16 points. For a flush, 4 points. If you cut the jack, 2 points. If you have the jack of the suit, 1 point. If you get 31 on the nose, you get 2 points. Closest to 31 gets 1 point. Now you know the game as well as I do. I taught the game to 2 of my children, to Ellen, my friend's son Sean, to Mark, my chiropractor, and to Naomi, my acupuncturist. I even played in a league in Pittsfield at the American Legion, but I didn't like it. They drank beer, smoked cigarettes, and if you missed a point or 2 and they saw it, they took the point or 2 for themselves, crying muggins. They really wanted to win the game. I play a gentleman's game. I play for the sheer fun of it. I even let my opponent win, just so I'll have someone to play with. But in the league, they took the game seriously. We bet $3 and then they smoked, drank, and caught the points you missed and took them for their own. It wasn't for me. Too serious. Life is a game. That's what I've learned. And those who take it too seriously wind up shooting someone, shooting themselves, or going Looney Tunes, all of which I want to avoid. After all, I have to see my grandson, to whom I also taught cribbage, bar mitzvahed in 4 years, and my adopted Korean granddaughter, bat mitzvahed in 8 years. So you see, I have something to look forward to. And whenever I start to take things too seriously, I remember Tony Alizio, who would turn away from me in the middle of the game, light up, smoke his cigarette, and begin talking to himself out loud. "Is everything all right, Tony?" I would say. "Yes, it is, Dickie Bird," he would answer, with his rough and knobby fingers and hands. "Everything's fine. I'm just checking in."